Sorry, this has just thrown me off a bit. So yes, so that is why we decided to have this, and I've had several exciting discussions with each of you. I am going to introduce the four that are here. That is Amos, Charlotte, Marcella, and Julian. Yes. So Marcy, where's Marcy? Yes, Marcy is from Serena Hotels, and she's going to be representing both of them.
Hi.
Hi, Marcy. Both Serena Kampala and Serena Chigo. Of course, they have longer names. I won't say the whole.
That's true.
Everyone knows them as Serena Kampala and Serena Chigo. Thank you very much for joining us, and I hope it.
Thank you for inviting us.
Welcome. And then we have Marcella Karachi, who is,
Hi.
yes, Marcella is of Igongo Cultural Center, and she's,
Hi everyone.
hi, and she's in charge of the marketing, and basically I just found that she was the best person I wanted to speak to, that I could disturb about questions, everything, housekeeping, marketing, whatever it is that I wanted to know, I knew that I could speak to her. And then we have Mr. Julian Katz.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. So wonderful to be here with Mercy, Marcella, and all our other colleagues. How wonderful to speak to you all here out of Kampala. Fantastic.
He is.
And thanks, Laura, for having me.
All right. He's from Marasa. Now, under Marasa, there's Para, Chobe, and Queen Elizabeth, and Mwea. Elizabeth. Yes.
Right.
Yes. Pardon me, I'll use fast names. I will use fast word, one word names for the resorts. I won't go, doing the whole 5-word names, but we all know these hotels. These are our hotels. These are our Ugandan hotels, so it's okay. Then there's Charlotte. Hi, Charlotte.
Hello, how are you? Nice to be here.
Nice. Thank you. And she's from my favorite Kabale resort. Very progressive. Always lovely to speak with her. Very innovative. Thank you very much for being with us. That is Bunyonyi Safari, in case I hadn't said it. She's from Bunyonyi Safaris and also owns a travel agency called Bunyonyi Safaris.
Yes,
Thank you. Have my others come on? I think they are still struggling to come on. So I think we will have to proceed. Amos was supposed to come on first, Amos of Uganda Lodges, but that is fine. He will come on later. And so the next one here is Marcy. Marcy, are you ready to go on? Can I ask my questions? Oh, I need to unmute. Yeah. Hi, Marcy.
Hi, Laura. How are you?
So
I have to make a disclaimer. My voice is a bit hoarse today, but it's nothing contagious.
I know you say that.
So when you hear me cough, so when you hear me cough a couple of times, please.
Yeah. Okay. So, just to reiterate, there's a lot. We have all been guessing, what is happening with the hotels and how are they handling. And so I know that right now it's about survival, and we are trying to figure out what to do post-lockdown and how to handle the changed consumer behavior of our travelers, right? So we shall skip that part to how you're surviving. I'm not going to ask about how you're handling your stuff. And this, I trust that you're all handling it the best way you can. So I'm going to skip over. This is going to be very difficult. I'm going to be about government policies and how we are waiting for them to come and help us, how and what we're doing with the stuff and all those legal things. That will be a whole other discussion. So for us, the Serena Hotels, what we would like to know, and when I say we're representing a lot of other platforms. We've been asking these questions in advance. What would you like to hear from these hotel owners? So we've gotten quite a number of questions for each of them. So I'm going to do it in a Q&A form, just to make it more interactive and, to make it fit in 1 hour, so to speak. So, what would like to know? What we know about Serena, Chigo, and Kampala, but I think my focus here will be more on Chigo because, like I said, we are focusing on the holiday leisure part, and I think between the two, Kampala and Chigo, it's Chigo that gets the more leisure, isn't it, Marcella?
Yes, it is. Actually, that's very true because if you look at the business model of the two properties, you realize that Kampala attracts 90% of our business is actually corporate markets. And those are corporate travelers. And then Lake Victoria, the way it's set up and everything is actually 90% of its business is actually either local corporates or government or local leisure and some international leisure business. But I think in line with your question, Lake Victoria would be more inclined, that's Lake Victoria Serena Golf Resorts and Spa, is more inclined for leisure travel and the leisure market, yeah. But we try to use our synergies and we share a lot of business, but they have a lot more they have a bigger stake in the local markets, yes.
Okay, so that's why I'd like to focus more on that one. So what I would like to ask is, given what has happened with the lockdown, you have obviously, there's going to be a huge reduction in business from weddings because of, no matter what happens tonight with the president's speech talk, basically, I don't see large crowds being permitted in the near future. I think that's going to take a while. And when I say large crowds, I mean our typical weddings that you used to have at the Colosseum of like 700, 500, 600, that's not going to happen. So obviously that's going to be a reduction in that business. Then corporate business, which is shops, meetings, all that. I'm sure you're already anticipating very little of this. What's your comment on that?
Thank you very much, Laura, again for convening everyone here. It's a very interesting discussion. I know just like my other colleagues here, it's been a very troublesome time for all of us. It's been very uncertain from around maybe February when we started getting a lot of cancellations. We said now, getting back onto the drawing board and strategizing and seeing how we're going to survive through this. I don't want to make a political statement, but I would like to commend the efforts of Ministry of Health. I think they've done a tremendous job to try and mitigate the effects and try and contain it. But then also, I think Uganda has, in a sense, dodged the heavy health impacts, but financially, we're going to really have a huge impact in the short term or in the long term for hospitality in particular. Of course, like you mentioned, like with borders still closed, when we talk about Uganda, we talk about hospitality in Uganda, we are not going to just focus. Okay, we'll focus on the local for now, but remember, Uganda is a destination, right? All this feeds into how celebrable we are as a destination. How I think it's like interrelated. So we'll just keep going back and forth, also focusing now on the local. I think with borders closed, it's going to be very difficult because we have very heavy operational commitments at the moment. However, just the same way we closed down initially, it was in a phased way. We didn't shut down immediately. We had borders were closed. Actually, before the borders were closed, we already got cancellations, and so we started now, re-strategizing, saying where do we focus our energies? And so we thought, how about we look at the East African markets, which is, our second highest producers out of Europe and America. So we said, how do we get East Africans to actually come? Kenya, Tanzania, Rwanda. Then when eventually they reported their first cases, so we said, okay, fine. So now let's focus on the locals, which we've actually always done. We have different aspects of our business. We have different facilities for them. So that's accommodation, that's food and beverage, that's a spa, that's, all these facilities. So we said, now let's focus. Let's sell the weekend offers. Let's discount our rates and actually offer a standard local rates, weekdays, weekends, to attract more people coming in. And that's what we've been doing, and we're going to continue doing that for a time. However, as we're going to reopen the hotel, we are thinking, as both Chigo and Kampala Serena, we won't go straight back into full-time operation, which I believe that most people probably won't. Yeah, we're anticipating that when we get the president, His Excellency, actually lifts transportation or the curfew on public transport, we can open a few restaurants, the Lex restaurants. And then eventually we'll actually see how that will go. And if there's a demand for it, then we shall open, our rooms and accommodation. Wouldn't want to go straight into it because of so many obligations, the labor, regrouping everyone. Most people have been sent away. So that's what we're doing. We are going to still offer the locals the same rates. I don't want to advertise them, of course, right now, but we have packages that we're going to offer the locals for both Lake Victoria and for Kampala Serena. We shall send out a communication in that regard. We shall continue to host weddings as we previously have, because as human beings, we're very social animals and we'll always want to, convene and meet and celebrate and do things like that. But of course, we'll have to continue doing that within the confinements of the law. Like you said again, for the Kampala Serena, 90% of our business is corporate, and we're going to continue to focus on that because we believe that in the short term, actually business is going to come. In the short term, we may get a bit of a beating, but in the long term, our business is actually going to come back. Because we're very optimistic that most corporate companies are going to continue running training schedules. They're going to run with their events calendars. Just to give you an idea, I don't think corporate companies were hosting these events just for the sake of doing it. They have strategies and they have reasons why. And so we believe that this is going to be scaled down in the short term, but we're very optimistic that in the long term, we're going to see, of course, all this business coming back. We're going to see a few more, increased meetings coming up. But the beauty is that we are ready for that. We have a whole strategy, ready to receive our guests. I'll just quickly take you through some of the things that we've actually done to prepare for that, for both the Kampala and the Lake Victoria. We're trying to ensure that, of course, the safety of our guests and our staff is paramount. It has always been a priority. We shall definitely try as much as possible to adhere to government SOPs and health protocols. As the Kampala Serena and the Lake Victoria, we've always actually taken this very seriously. We've always followed, we've always had SGS inspections, which are a requirement for our star rating, as well as HACCP. So HACCP is, just for those that don't know what HACCP is, it's a systematic approach to identify and evaluate and control the food safety. And so these are some of the requirements that we must comply to. We must comply with to be able to bid for international business, to be able to host certain caliber of clientele. And so this, we've always actually maintained impeccable standards of hygiene, and this is not new to us. We're going to retrain and equip our local nurse, that is a resident nurse, okay, not a resident nurse, but our in-house nurse, so that we can be able to give our guests a reassurance that we know we're complying, we're maintaining very high standards of hygiene and things like that. Definitely, we shall try and move to e-commerce. I know this is something that's not very embraced here locally, but with trying to limit the contacts with the staff and the guests, we're encouraged to book online. Our website is very active and up. If you need to book for a meal for the sorry, someone just jumped in with some dance music.
Yeah, I'll ignore that.
Okay. Don't worry. So I was saying, so this is what you're referring to about people hacking in and doing their own stuff, right?
Yeah.
Earlier on. Yeah. So I'll just go quickly through what we planned. So e-commerce is going to take center stage, of course. So going forward, we shall encourage online bookings, which will, of course, will help us with keeping within the guidelines of social distancing and trying to avoid limit the contact. We have the Serena app that is actually is in the final stages. And so hopefully when it's finally launched, it will trickle down to every aspect of the customer journey. That is a check-in process, accessing lifts, accessing your room so you don't have to touch the doorknobs and things like that, down to taking restaurant orders. Of course, management is trying to encourage online payments. So when you come to a restaurant, when you come to a hotel, as opposed to exchanging cash, we'll encourage you to utilize, and we'll work with our partners, that's Stanbic, ABSA, and all these other, banks, Equity, to try and encourage all our customers to actually have like cashless payments. Mobile money is up and running. It's an amazing, I think, tool. So we're trying to utilize that. Of course, with 0 to single digital occupancy, our cash flow and accessing finance is going to be very difficult. So we will try and discourage credit facilities. I know the majority of our businesses has been, do this for me, I'll probably pay you later, or an LP or things like that. For running contracts, we'll try as much as possible to have a payment plan in place. But we all know that hospitality has taken a very big hit. Most of us haven't received any cash for the last couple of months. And so we need to be able to safeguard and protect our money as much as possible.
Yeah.
Of course, yes, and also would like to encourage advanced bookings. We don't have a very healthy culture in making these bookings, but if we must follow the guidelines given by the government, and it's a collaborative effort here, and this is like a call for every Ugandan. We encourage book in advance. If, for example, let's say the Lex restaurant, its typical capacity is about 200 people. But now with the new guidelines, we'll probably be hosting about 100 people max. Yeah, we can host more than that. To avoid being disappointed, would encourage that you book in advance. We shall utilize a lot of our outdoor spaces for Lake Victoria and for Kampala. We're very lucky that we have. We'll try and utilize our restaurants. We'll sit outside. We'll set up outside. Of course, following every single guideline, as has already been said. But also, we're very, very lucky and very happy to say that we actually have structures in place. And a lot of training has always been done and will continue to be done for everyone to follow that. Of course, in the short term, we think that our operations may change a little bit, but we'll definitely try to, like I said before we closed, we went through, not every single day was the same. We had a strategy, we had a contingency plan. Within a few minutes, everything was flipped over. We had to regroup and restructure. So we'll continue to do that. Things will change over time. But I'm very hopeful, personally, really hopeful that we'll bounce back, because hospitality has always, taken a hit. But we're very resilient, and I think we've weathered the storm before with terrorism and Ebola, and we'll definitely do this again. But again, it has to be a collaborative effort. Ugandans have to be very dedicated custodians of the government SOPs to be able to protect each other. That's person to person, hotel to hotel. Because I may comply, my colleague may not comply, and then we pass around, or they may comply, I may not comply, and we eventually impact each other. So basically that's it. We'll try as much as possible to, we have services in place tailored for the local market, and we shall continue to offer the best that we can to the locals.
Thank you, Marcy. I love the optimism. Very much. That's what we need to hear. That's what we need to hear from you guys. So, in summary, what I have picked out in summary is that you are going at this with a phased approach. Basically,
yes, we are.
Start by opening the restaurants, and we all love the restaurants there. And then
we shall start with one restaurant for a start.
Yeah.
Then we eventually open. Yes.
Okay. So basically phased, meaning you won't completely open up even the accommodation part, but you will start with the restaurant and maybe the golf club and all that, phased in that way.
Yes.
And then that's short term, and then medium to long term, you will eventually, start to open up the accommodation part based on demand. Mm-hmm. You still believe that corporate business will still be there, and you're right. This is still in their budgets. It's part of their strategic. Whether it's trainings or
plans,
plans are still there. And COVID may have delayed them, but I don't think it has completely eliminated them. Yes, and then
and also, just to add to that, Laura, I think just try to be very optimistic. I think that some of these corporate companies actually will probably be more they'll be more secure knowing that larger hotels or establishments actually are following these guidelines of the protocols to the dot, even better than their own offices. So as opposed to, inviting a guest to come to my office and have a meeting there, I would be sure that I'm protecting them and myself with going to an establishment that I know is following certain guidelines. So
very smart of you to say, you're trying to say that it's safer to have a meeting at your premises than in their own offices. Okay, so and then also I like that you said all the plans that you're putting in place for minimized contact points, handling of cash. Today I went to a supermarket.
Exactly.
My cards, and I was given the POS machine to put in my.
Yeah, exactly.
I ended up using
you're requested
my
to
sleeve to put in. So it got me thinking about not all of us are really thinking about the whole 360-degree consumer experience process.
Yeah, the customer journey.
Yes, and then the customer journey, and then you also said that you have prices for the local market, the domestic market, the Ugandan traveler, basically. And forward to seeing all these. We follow your pages, so we'll keep updating our platforms as well on this. Thank you very much, Mercy. Thank you very much. I think it feels really good to know what you have in plan and that you're actually planning and you're not in the red like we keep hearing, collapse, blah, blah, blah. That's really good that you're working on all this. So our latecomers, Mr. Amos Wekesa, who is under Colleen Masiga. Can he hear us? Amos, if you can hear us, try and unmute. Rowena, unmute Colleen.
Sorry, yes.
Yes.
I'm really busy. Yeah.
Yes.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, you don't need any introduction. Everyone knows who Mr. Amos Wekesa is, so I'll let you continue.
Oh, let me continue. Oh, thank you so much for hosting this. With all these very important people, I can see the Marcella and the rest of the group. Just enjoyed the last discussion. Thank you so much for trying to discuss the domestic tourism. I think domestic tourism has been at the center of I love domestic tourism. Of course, it's a very challenging area, but I think we are going to see a lot of mindset change as far as the Ugandan population is concerned. I remember I was having a chat recently with Marcella, and I was saying, you must be hosting more Ugandans than Muzungus, but when one Muzungu comes, everyone concentrates on the Muzungu and thinks that's the most important client. And yet, the truth is that a place like Igongo would be hosting more tourists, more local tourists. It's hosting more local tourists than we are. Now, for us as a business, the truth is that we've been hosting more foreign tourists than we have been hosting Ugandans. But during specific times like April, and especially after the Easter weekends, and then Independence, Christmas time, we host a lot of Ugandans, and they seem to enjoy themselves, especially specifically at Asiima Safari Camp. Now, for elephant plains, fairly new, mainly foreign tourists coming there. There are fewer rooms. We have about 10 nice rooms, and we have been charging over $400, and that has not been going well with Ugandans. A lot of them would want $50 for such a room, so it doesn't make a lot of financial sense. As we speak right now, we are seeing that there's a lot of opportunities coming up. 220,000 Ugandans who have been going to Kenya every single year, spending between $1,500 to $2,000, have to be convinced the same amount of money has to be spent in Uganda. We have about 36,000 Ugandans that go to Dubai every single year. Those must be convinced. We have about 31,000 that go to South Africa and about 10,000 to Zanzibar. Now, that is countries whose statistics I have an idea about. But of course, those places have had a proper marketing strategy of focusing on Ugandan market that should go there. Now, the idea for me, what I think is that about 40% of those people will definitely not have opportunities in terms of jobs because they've lost their jobs. But there will be a 60% of those people. 60% is still a very big number if they decided to travel around Uganda and spend the same amount of money within Uganda. Yeah. Thankfully, of course, the total tourism industry has decided that we are, especially those hotel owners, we have decided that we are all going to put rates that will attract Ugandans. As a business, we had decided to close until August, and then we start pushing for a campaign. But it looks like we're going to start pushing a campaign towards mid-June, and we've started already doing our flyers and engaging the Ugandans in as far as that. But before we do that, we're engaging trainers to be able to train our people in regarding to improving the service, but also dealing with the current situation of coronavirus. The truth is that we've gone through a period of corona-like virus, which is Ebola, and we've been at the epicenter specifically for Simba Safari Camp, where Kasese had a lot of suspected cases of Ebola during the time. Now, that said, we have a few guys that are going to come in, that are going to be training our people in as far as the protocols of coronavirus are concerned right now. When it comes to places like Elephant Plains has rooms which are about 30 meters away from each other. It's not a very big problem because we're thinking that service will be happening in people's verandas at their rooms, and we're going to avoid a lot of people hanging out around the main area. We're also going to be doing a lot of online payments. We are going to make sure that every place has got sanitizers. We'll make sure that the door handles, places like door handles are the ones that cause a lot of problems, by the way. Door handles, there'll be someone, cleaning every time, such that there is no problem of spraying, not necessarily cleaning using the hands, but spraying. But I'm supposed to be speaking for 10 minutes, isn't it?
Yes, actually, let me ask you the questions I wanted to ask.
Oh, sorry.
No, I was enjoying listening to you. You actually already, haven't you seen me busy ticking off? You've been answering some of them. So.
I love talking.
I know. So my first question, right, is I think you've really answered this in a nutshell, is what is Uganda Lodges doing?
Pardon?
What is Uganda Lodges Limited? What are your lodges doing to encourage domestic tourism? And I ask this because, like you said, most Ugandans believe that lodges in general or hotels, resorts here have been tailored towards the foreign tourist, that you haven't been speaking to the Ugandan traveler. If you believe you've been doing this, then it means that your communication hasn't been coming out right. And when I say your communication, I mean Simba, Elephant Plains, what are the other two? Simba,
Private Lodge, Budongo Eco Lodge.
Yes, and Budongo Eco Lodge. That either the communication hasn't come out clearly, right? Speaking to, like we like saying sometimes, the muntu awansi, the muntu of here, the muturaji, as I would say in my language, the person of Uganda. Yeah. So I believe this is the time to start speaking to them. And so that is what I'm asking. What is Uganda Lodges doing to encourage this, in your opinion?
One, the thing is that you must understand your market when you're investing. You don't invest for every market.
Yeah.
Of course, the challenge when it comes to Uganda is that people don't understand why I will charge $50 at Simba Safari Camp and charge $400 at Elephant Plains.
Yeah.
The other thing that we also need to know is that Ugandans are not necessarily people who like primate-oriented tourism experiences. Primate-oriented tourism experiences, the gorilla trekking, the chimpanzee trekking. Now, if you see two of our lodges, Budongo Eco Lodge and Primate Lodge, in the chimpanzee areas, those I don't even expect that we'll have a lot of business from Ugandans anytime soon because it's not their area. A lot of Ugandans would love to go to savannah-based national parks like Kidepo, Queen Elizabeth National Park, Murchison Falls. But it will be very difficult to engage them to go to Chiba, the national park, to do the chimpanzee trekking, or maybe Bigodi swamps, because we feel that these primates, a lot of Ugandans, when they've seen olive baboons in Busitema, they will think they've seen the gorillas. So it's very difficult to convince them those are not gorillas.
It's like a gorilla is just maybe a bit bigger, and that's it. But same. Yeah.
Put a lot of emphasis in trying to market to Ugandans, but also it's also because of the thinking that Ugandans. We must also know that the least tourism in this country happens in national parks. The biggest amount of tourism happens around Kampala, Mbarara, Kabale, places like Mbale, Gulu, Arua. That's where real tourism business actually happens, because because of the definition that tourism is. A local tourist is the one who leaves place A, goes to place B, spends over 24 hours and less than a year, and must not have a permanent job. So if you go to Kabale, you go to Mbarara, you go to Soroti, you go to Mbale, you're actually a local tourist, and that's where the majority of the rooms are. And so Uganda is saying that rooms are expensive for them is actually wrong, because all these places have very affordable accommodations in many ways.
Okay. So what you said is true. They say most of us have actually traveled Uganda as tourists, but we don't call it tourism because we feel like we haven't seen a gorilla and things like that. Yet most of us have traveled for either weddings, and while we're there, we go try out the restaurants and whatever else there is to do in that particular town. So just to understand Uganda lodges better, I want to just ask brief questions. What is your most, when Laura is broke, but she really wants to go away for the weekend, where does she go? What's your most affordable lodge or hotel or resort?
It is Simba Safari Camp. I think I've had one of the people here as my guest. This one, Marcella, you've been there as a local tourist. So there's evidence that is that people actually travel there. So Simba is most affordable, but at the same time, it's set in a way that families can enjoy. The rooms that of families. I think Marcella, you came with your family. It's really good for the families. Very nice food, of course. There is a nice chef. People enjoy the ambience, the trees in the area, and it's also accessible. You know, it touches the main road, which is a way to Bwera, which is good. Okay. Yeah, the rest, two of them are very remote. Yeah.
Speaking of affordable, can one go camping at any of your lodges? Can I go with my tent?
No, camping can only happen at Simba Safari Camp. The rest of the places, the thing is that, like I said, when you're doing tourism, you have to target who your clients are.
Yeah.
Elephant Plains is for a certain class of people. People who pay $400 and above normally don't want to mix with people who pay $5. Yeah. So it's not our interest to say that, but it's true. If you pay someone who pays $100, it feels like, why should I be hanging out with the guy who's paying $1? And it becomes a problem. Yeah, it's a fact.
So you've answered that the most affordable is Simba, and Marcella noted, when I said, when I'm broke, where do I go? Your name was mentioned. Noted, you're broke. So if I'm going with my family, what are the options I have? If I want to go with my son, and my son is extremely active, he will want to do a lot of things and not be bored. So where would I go?
Yeah, it depends on how experienced a tourist you are. I think Simba, Elephant Plains would be a good place for you. Why? You'd be able to do a few things that a young kid will be happy to do. A game drive would give him a chance to see the elephants, the buffaloes, be able to see the lions. These are things that thrill the young people. And then also doing a boat cruise. And by the way, don't forget, we have probably the best cruise boat in the country right now, MV Kazinga, which is actually cheap. It's not very expensive to board that one, which you do a bit of the island and then of course the other wildlife. Then you can do a bit of hiking. A lot of Ugandan operators, ourselves, we assume that every tourist wants to come and sit in the car and be able to see, to enjoy it in the car. But a lot of people want active holders like yourselves. So you'll be able to go and see the salt lakes. You can go to Maramagambo Forest, you can go to Kalinzu, you can go to Chambura, you can go to visit local communities around Katwe area. There's a lot of stuff you can do in that area. A lot of our tourists also come and participate, especially come with families, foreigners. They go and, children have a chance to attend a lesson in one of the village schools or participate in the making of crafts with the women in the Chikorongo. That's
okay. And then if I want to go with my partner, if I were a guy, let's not use me. If I were a guy and I wanted to propose to my long-term girlfriend, which of your lodges would I go to that has the best view and where I'll just feel like, you understand? So which one of your lodges is the best for couples?
No, Elephant Plains out of this world. Not when you're marketing, you don't actually target the men, because the men are very if you're targeting a man, you're going to have very few tourists coming your way.
No, I was
When you're
about to say
marketing,
that if I wanted to propose, but then I thought that would sound wrong. So I had to, you know.
No. They do. Women do propose. Actually, the people that propose destinations are either children. When they have seen something they like, they go to the parent, the mother, and say, we want to go and see the elephants, we want to see the lion, or the wife. When you see adverts on TV, it's always a woman looking at this, you know, a fantastic view, enjoying herself. The reason they do that is because the woman makes the best, the biggest decision in traveling for experiences.
Okay, so elephant planes it is. Noted.
So wedding proposal is elephant planes in short, but you have to save.
Yes. Well, if you're going to propose, it has to be special, and the guy or the lady has to save.
No, but that's not what happens here. In Uganda, the most unfortunate thing about Uganda is that the majority of the people want to wake up and be able to spend.
Okay.
They don't know that people in the West, I can tell you that by February when we were starting business, people are already booking for 2023. People think about their trips 4 or 5 years in advance.
Yeah.
You know, they put money together. Now, we need to teach Ugandans that, yes, you need to put money together. I want to go to Queen Elizabeth National Park in December. I want to go to Marasa and stay at Igongo. I need to start saving now. By December, I have enough money to do this kind of activities. I want to go to Ukabali and stay at Lake Bunyonyi, you know, Bunyonyi place. I need to save in advance, you know?
Yeah. And then my last question, if I'll speak as TravelNeza, if we're organizing a team building for a company, so let's say 25 people, they want to have an evening bonfire, team building activities, you know, you can pick, you know, group activities basically. Which lodge of yours would you recommend? And
it's
why?
It's both Simba Safari Camp and Elephant Plains.
Okay.
It depends on which team building you're talking about. I've hosted, say, for example, World Bank representatives across Africa. For those ones, enjoy an environment that is, you know, like tropical rainforest, like Chibale National Park is. But like I said, the majority of Ugandans would like fairly active and place where they can see TV in the evening, watch their match. In fact, the only place where we have a place where you can watch your TV is Simba Safari Camp. So they would love that in the evenings. And also the sitting for those who are like drinking, the activities on the boat, and yeah, and activities like I mentioned earlier on within the protected area called Queen Elizabeth National Park.
Okay. My last question will then be on pricing. You don't have to tell us the prices now, but are you working on special promotional prices post-lockdown, bearing in mind that everything has been tight?
Yeah. And I can tell you it's not a secret. For Simba Safari Camp, we're doing a drive of 2 nights. People spending 250,000 shillings, but that is sharing. We're expecting that people can stay 2 of them in a room, and they'll be able to pay 500,000 shillings for 2 nights on full board. And then for Elephant Plains, we're doing a minimum of 380,000 shillings per night, because it's well crafted, you know, and we're doing the same for Primate Lodge, and we'll be doing about 300,000 for Budonga Eco Lodge, that is Martin Falls National Park.
Okay, that's really good to hear, because like I said, a lot of the, you know, people's posts and everything has been about how you're only targeting the tourists and you don't have prices suitable for the Ugandan traveler, but $250 per person for 2 nights, including all meals. And you all know that meals in restaurants or lodges don't come cheap. They put in a lot of effort, and yeah, so 250,000 for 2 nights is not bad at all. That's very good. And
no, but Laura, let me give you an example. Yeah, Ugandans just complain. A Ugandan spends, and by the way, 250,000. It's not $250 for Simba Safari Camp. Ugandans must know. A Ugandan will go and have Javas. I will go for breakfast at Javas and spend 25,000. He goes for lunch, spends another 40,000. He goes for dinner somewhere, he spends 100,000. By the time they finish food, they're over 100,000 shillings. Now, if I tell the same Ugandan, you're going to sleep for a night and you pay 125,000 shillings, you'll have 3 meals, and we give a 3-course meal. Marcella, tell these guys about those course menus. You know, you start with your soup, you have your what, you know, we pamper you, you know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
So you guys must not have this confession of saying, you know, but also you guys must change the way they think, Laura, because when you're Ugandan and you're invested in Uganda, Ugandans feel that you think your places should be free. No. Marcella, we should refuse these people. It's not a right thing. And
I agree.
We should not refuse. You know.
I agree, Amos. I agree.
Yeah, she has been telling me the same thing.
Yeah.
So just before you go, so if someone is spending 250,000 Uganda shillings for 2 nights, the game drives, how much is a game drive for a Ugandan?
A park entrance for an adult is about 20,000.
Yeah.
The boat trip is about 25,000, which is about 2 hours. Car entry is 30,000 for every 24 hours. So basically, then maybe the most expensive, another expensive thing would be the ranger. So if you want to do a game drive and you need a ranger, it will cost you about $20, which is about 70,000. So it's not as expensive as you think.
Okay.
Go and spend in a bar in an evening.
Yes. Thank you very, very much, Amos. In summary, what you've told us is you are ready for the Ugandan market. You have pricing suitable for them, actually very, very good. And you've shown us that it's not expensive. And remember that you can actually save up for this or pay in months in installments and things like that. So you don't have to just wake up and decide, you know, on Friday, you decide on Saturday you're going. No. As long as it's planned for, it's actually more affordable. We now understand what's unique about each of the lodges under Uganda lodges. Like I said, where I want to go with a partner, family, or, you know, that kind of thing. So we'll know exactly what to plan for. And thank you very much for giving us that insight, Amos. I will now go to Rashid. Rashid is under Baluku Godfrey. Where are you? Hi, Rashid. Rowena, please unmute Rashid. Yes.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, let me introduce you. So Rashid, one of the latecomers as well, is actually the one who was supposed to have gone after Marcella, is the MD, CEO, owner of Brovad Sands Lodge. Now, Brovad Sands, I have been several times and absolutely love it. So I thought it'd be fitting to have him here because we need to know what he's working on. Like I said, what are you working on that is tailored to the domestic traveler, and whatever creative ideas or experiences that you have come up with during this period, we would like to hear about them. So would you like to say something before I launch into my questions?
I know I was late, but the best thing is I'm here now.
Yes.
Brovad, it has always been about the guests, so dedicated to giving the best service to our guests after the COVID-19. We are launching so many different packages. Our different guests come back. We are doing trainings for our staff to handle the post-COVID because they still have a lot of and security for our guests to show them that we're in this together. We're in this together, and we're going to take good care of them. Okay. So, of course, everyone is talking about the same things. Every hotel is going to do the same things. That is sanitization, very clean rooms, of course, and that includes the masks that we're going to be giving to our guests. They'll be finding them in the rooms when they come. We shall be sterilizing our rooms all the time, making sure that whenever the guests are out, the cleaners will be coming in and out to make sure that it's clean. That includes sanitized wipes for the guests to use themselves if they need to use. Basically, that is it. That's what we're trying to do. Of course, not forgetting the temperature guns at the reception, plus the social distancing, which we're really gonna take care of.
Okay. So with the Brovad sense, what I want to highlight on, I'm not going to really talk about the social distancing and the health. I know that you already have measures in place for those, like you've mentioned. What I really want to talk about that I know you have mentioned to us and is very exciting is the culture tourism. Now, Rashid, please tell me, as Laura, a city dweller, what you would like, what you think you can teach me or show me about our culture in Sese, in Kalangala, and how you'll go about it.
Sese is part of the Uganda land, and actually most people don't know that that stick, the Prime Minister, the stick of Uganda, the stick that he holds, it comes from Sese Islands. So we have it's called the Damula. So that tree that brings out that stick is based in Sese Islands. So it's kind of the culture that we want to show people, because people need to see new things. They know everything. We have the beaches, we have things. But did you know that also Sese people, they have a local delicacy called echibero, and in Kalangala or Sese Islands, it's a cultural food. Echibero, you mix all the fish, tilapia, mukene, buta, and they put in the katogo. So those are the experiences that we want, the new experiences that we want people to have out of the normal, because after the long stay in the houses, people need to discover new things, and we tell them about these new things that we have. Of course, even the stories of Mukasa, who is the lord of the lake. So we still have all those stories to tell you when you come after the lockdown.
Okay. So these tours, will these be culture tours that you will organize from the resort? Packaged properly, we know that we're setting off at 9 and then we're going to this place and this place, a proper culture tour, priced and everything.
I didn't get that. You're breaking a little bit.
I'm breaking.
I didn't get that.
Okay, I was saying that so these will be properly planned culture tours with set itineraries, depart at 9, we do a trail around here and, that kind of thing, properly priced and on your platforms, social media and website for people to find out.
Yeah, this is what we shall be having.
Okay. I don't know, Rashid is
more activities than culture. So it's something that we shall be having an itinerary about, and people can choose where to go, maybe from 9 to 6, something that we can do.
Okay. The reason I brought that up is that when I had a chat with you earlier, I found that was something very unique that we would want to bring out. So, I mean, on top of just going to the resort, enjoy the room, enjoy the beach, enjoy the food, what more are we doing as hotels, as businesses to come up with more creative ways for our customers to experience the areas around us? And so I thought this was really good. I imagine if I were a Mr. Mukasa with a family of 3, 10-year-old, 8-year-old, and 5-year-old, and I would want to take them on these tours to show them more about my culture as a Mr. Mukasa, so they can understand all this better. So that is really good. That is really good. Another thing that I'd want to ask you about, or ask you to elaborate on, is weddings, events. So you know that for a while, like I mentioned, it's I don't think we're going to get back to the 600 guest weddings anytime soon. So, and I know that you've hosted small weddings, and this is something you can actually capitalize on. And when we spoke, you actually mentioned some interesting things about it. Please tell us more.
We now have a new word of scientific weddings. It was my first time to hear it from the president, of course. But we're saying now we must join in this scientific wedding thing. You can easily have your wedding in Sese because we have the beaches, and the beach wedding has always been the best for people in life. We are proposing to be part of these scientific weddings. First of all, we have huge open spaces with fresh air, of course with the beach. So we're thinking we can, if you need to host like a 30 people wedding, 50 people wedding, the best place to go, of course, is Sese Islands, because you can hit two birds with one stone. Your guests can leave and then you stay for your honeymoon. So once you host a wedding with us, I don't know, of course, there's so many hotels in Sese Islands. Me, I'm speaking for Brovad, but I'm sure all of us, all the hotels on the island, are trying to fit into the situation. We are thinking and we are working on a proposal and a package where if you book people, that means 15 rooms. We had every 5 rooms, we give you a free room. Every 5 double rooms, we give you a free room for the 2 nights if you're spending 2 nights. So meaning those are 15 rooms. So probably you could have a few extra rooms. Also, on that package, the newly wedded people will stay for a 3 nights stay for free if they hold a wedding in a hotel. So we're trying to come up with those packages, and we're going to roll them out. And of course, TravelNeza will help us with the marketing as well. So it is something we want to work on, which we're already working on anyway.
Yes. Just to summarize that, or to put it in a different way, basically, the way I look at it, if you have to have a scientific wedding, let's say 50 guests. 50 guests means about 25 rooms. Let's just assume that people are coupled up or sisters are sharing rooms and that kind of thing. So 25 rooms, and yet Rashid here has said that for every 5 rooms, you get the 6th free. So with 25 rooms means that you will get about 5 rooms free? 5 rooms free. Don't question my
right
mind.
On that.
Just go with the flow.
Yeah.
So you'll get about 5 rooms free. So that means yourself, the couple, your parents, your best man and etc. can actually, or your kids if you're already married, can actually have free rooms. So this is could be a different way at looking at these scientific weddings, rather than going to sit in only the 2 front rows in church. Actually, I'm looking for the name of the church. In church. And so rather go have it a very nice, small, intimate wedding at the beach, and then somewhere, by the pool. I think that would be really amazing, but not just the beautiful part of it, but the fact that it would cost you way less than a city wedding, even if it's for much fewer people. Yeah. Rashid, was I too off base there? Was it kind of what you were saying?
You're definitely right. You're definitely right. Don't even forget the short drive. We're not very far from Kampala. If you hop on to MV Vanessa, which we're in partnership with, in 1 hour you're on the island. If you drive through Masaka, which is about 1.5 hours to the boat, to the ferry, which is and then you drive after crossing for 30 minutes. You drive for another 25 minutes. So basically, in 2 hours, you're in the island, or 2.5 hours you're on the island. So it's a short drive. Not to encourage people to go far away to Amos's elephant plains, but a shorter distance.
It's a different experience, unless there's a variety that we're now looking at. Okay, so something else that you wanted to talk about was honeymooners. So what do you have? I don't like to say that now honeymooners, but there won't be that many options for honeymoons, as if Uganda should be the last resort, but no. Let's just look at it as for all the weddings for the next couple of months, Uganda is going to be the only option for a honeymoon destination. And you have been focusing quite a bit on this. Please tell us more about that.
The honeymooners, we've hosted a big number of honeymooners, and actually most of them come back for their anniversaries. So we are working on a package. If you book a honeymoon with us, which is a promotional package, if you pay 3 nights, you get the 4th night free. If you pay for 4 nights, you get the 5th night free. We're giving you more value for money and more time to rest and enjoy the resort. We have more activities. We are introducing more activities because what was missing on the lake, especially in Sese Islands, were water activities. So honeymooners have a lot to do. We have introduced pedal boats, and these are can be operated by 2 people, the wife and the husband, and it gets them closer as well. We have water tricycles, also operated by 2 people. So we have, of course, this is for larger groups. We have water volleyball. We have a volleyball court that can inflate and put into the lake, and people can play inside there. Plus the canoe ride, our local canoe ride, which is operated by our hotel staff. But all these are monitored, and we have a lifeguard on duty, and who manages these activities. So the honeymooners have more to do than what we had now. So if they choose to come to Kalanga, I don't think there's any bother. And like you people keep saying Ugandans like TV, of course Ugandans don't have, honeymooners don't have to worry. We have TVs in our rooms. We have 21 channels in our rooms. So we have taken care. This destination, this islands, has been a destination for Ugandans. And for us, we're not complaining about Ugandans not having money. They have been coming, and we want them to keep coming back. So we trust the Ugandans, and they're our people. Please come back to your destination. This is your destination.
Okay. Basically, just to add on to what you said, I was going to ask you about what activities. It's been quite an interesting journey watching Brovad Sons grow. From the first time I went to the most recent time, they have beach volleyball and the beach tricycle, beach water thing. It's so much fun. Basically, they're now utilizing the lake a lot more. And they've got activities for kids. So there's a lot more to do now. And that's why sometimes I frown when I hear Ugandans saying, but what's there to do here? There's no value for money. Speaking of value for money, like what he said, for honeymooners, if you stay 3 nights, you get the 4th night free. Or did you say 4 nights and get the 5th night? I think it was 4 nights and get the 5th night free. And so that means that, and that is for 1.8 million for both of you. So as in for the couple pays that much. That comes to about $500. $500 for 5 nights, including all meals, and their food is very yummy. That is really good value for money. People say it's cheaper to go elsewhere. Where are you going for $500 with your flight, your accommodation, and all your meals picked up from the ferry, from the ferry point? Basically, I think that's really good value for money, and I applaud your creativity in all this, with the cultural tourism, with the scientific weddings, the honeymoons, creating all these activities at the beach. That means we don't have to keep saying we don't have good beach destinations and there's nothing much to do. You can actually go with your friends and enjoy the beach and all the activities and take amazing Instagram pictures. Rashid, is there anything I haven't mentioned that you wanted to mention before I move on?
Even the normal couples, you want to come and propose, you have a birthday, you have a wedding anniversary, where we say you've been our people and we're not forgetting you. So we're also coming down that rate. We're going for a 280,000 shillings. That's a couple. From now until from the lockdown until the lockdown is done. From the day the lockdown is done until November, 280,000 shillings for a couple. That is half board. 280,000 shillings for a couple half board. Like I said, these are our people, our friends, our sisters. Most of our clients have become our friends and sisters and brothers. So we know what's happening in the world. So we're saying we are still with you. You want to rest? We are there for you. And we're going to give you these good rates. This is your hotel. You've grown it. We still need to go together. We're not going to leave you behind.
All right. Thank you very much, Rashid. That is very good. Just to go back to the topic is just how ready is the hotel industry for the post-lockdown Ugandan traveler. And I think listening to all this shows that contrary to what a lot of people believe, there are a lot of prices tailored to the local market. There are so many fun activities. The hotels are busy coming up with creative experiences, and which make these trips a lot more valuable. So you're not just paying for a hotel room, there's a lot more going on. Thank you very much, Rashid. So the next person is Charlotte. Charlotte, sorry for keeping you quiet for a while. Where's Charlotte? Yes?
Laura?
Yes.
I just want to say hi to my big brother Amos. I see he's aging gracefully. I can see the beard. He's growing old in the lockdown.
Where is your beard?
Amos. Beard is becoming white like snow. It's aging gracefully.
So, Charlotte, are you there? Hi, Charlotte. I can see you. Can you hear us? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, wonderful.
Can you hear me?
Yes, thank God.
Hello. Sorry, my internet seems to be going on and off. Yes, I can.
Okay, that's great.
I can hear you.
Okay, hi. So yes, like I mentioned, Charlotte.
Can you hear me?
Yes, very well. So Charlotte is the MD, proprietor, and everything for Bunyonyi Safaris. Bunyonyi Safaris is one of the best resorts in Kabale. And I will let her just say a couple of words if you'd like to before I launch into my, hopefully, few questions. Seems her internet isn't too good. And she seems to have logged off. Pity. Charlotte, are you there? Should we just go to the next? I think she's having problems with her internet. We will get back to her. Okay. So, should we go on to Mr. Katz? Julian Katz.
Hey Laura, everybody. It's been so exciting sitting here listening to all these wonderful things happening around Uganda. I think I want to start traveling.
Yes, I know, it does make you feel that way.
That's fantastic. So I think starting off, I think really from Marasa, Africa, and all of our beautiful lodges, we have the most wonderful circuit starting right up at Murchison, starting off at Chobe Lodge. A lot of the locals love Chobe Lodge, bringing you through to Para Safari Lodge, and then of course heading down to Moya Safari Lodge and Silverback all the way down in Burundi. And you know that's not the end of Marasa. That might just be Marasa, Uganda. But opening up in Kenya, our local rates are valid for that area too. So it's great for everybody to know that we can host you in the Masai Mara, we can host you up at Mount Kenya Safari Club, and all of these areas. I think it's just more places to make memories and really go out and have a good time.
Okay. Thank you very much. Just in short, have you told us each of the ones in Uganda? Can you name them again?
Sure, it's Chobe Safari Lodge, that's in Murchison,
Yeah.
and Para Safari Lodge, and then there's Moya Safari Lodge in Queen,
Yes.
and the Silverback Lodge in Bunyonyi. So there are 4 properties in Uganda
Okay.
and 3 properties up in Kenya.
Okay, great. When we chatted, you told me about you had a lot to say about what you're doing to make your guests feel really comfortable, especially during this period. But I mean, what are you putting in place to ensure social distancing?
I think one of the big things that everybody must realize is this COVID-19 has hit everybody. And if I tell you, I've been working hard, or not quite as hard as our Director of Operations, Mike, and our wonderful team of general managers. But every week that we get that moves along, what we were doing 3 weeks ago for our guests to what we were doing a week ago for our guests to what we're doing this week for our guests has changed so very, very fast. And I thank very much everybody around Uganda. I thank a lot of the people who through technology and various ways are creating new things that we can use. So from initially it was going to be hands-free check-in, now it was screens, then it was something else. And I think we're keeping an eye on the developments to make sure that people have a really good time. And I think that's more probably, Laura, what is important. I think everybody's been in lockdown. Everybody's been focused on this COVID-19. I think me specifically, I've been locked down without any TV other than CNN. So I can tell you all about Trump and about the virus ad nausea. It's been a lot of news on that. But one of the greatest things is I think it's important for us to make sure that every guest is safe. I think that's the first thing. And that they are able to explore and experience our beautiful lodges. I think people need to get away. We want to see a father and a son fishing. We want to see a child sitting with our chefs, being able to cook a meal for the family. We want to be able to take you on a safari drive and be able to stop in the bush and have a picnic with your family. And I think one of the things, Laura, we were chatting about how far apart are your tables going to be and what is that kind of detail. And I think some of our tables are going to be nearly 7 or 8 or 30 kilometers apart from each other. Some will be having meals down the river on a boat. Others will be having meals maybe up at the restaurant or at the swimming pool. And I think the biggest thing here is we want you to explore Marasa your way. We want to hear from our guests how you enjoy it. And we're creating a whole lot of different packages that range from a room for a family who may not have as much money as another family who may want to make it absolutely unbelievable. And I mean, I always say to people, nothing nice is cheap and nothing cheap is nice. And I think the reality is that's why we need to explore Marasa hotels your way. I want to learn, when you're phoning, our ladies are trained to find out who you are. There's nothing worse than saying to somebody who hasn't got much money and let them feel that they're having a cheap time. You know, I always say a cheap wedding is a wonderful bottle of champagne at the top of a mountaintop and we'll make it really special. And a really, really wealthy wedding is a total different one. We'll bring the guests by boats. We can use safari vehicles. We can meet up in the heart of Africa, in the middle of this wonderful Uganda country. And I think it's who is your customer and how can we make it special for you? I think the biggest thing, Laura, is every customer matters. And I think everybody, or not every customer, every guest, if I say customer for you as an agent, they're your customers. To us, they're guests. These people matter. And I think bringing in an experience that people have forgotten to have. People forget to laugh. Parents are working hard. People are stressed about making money. When they come into a Marasa hotel, there's going to be that sense of occasion that lets you actually relax. I think moving on to weddings, how do we make it special for a wedding or a proposal? It's so important to understand who is the guest. How are they wanting to get married? You know, I was chatting to one of our young men who's engaged, and this couple was so wonderful. They were petrified of their parents. That was the real truth. Their parents' idea of their wedding was not their idea of their wedding. So
And then,
through learning what we wanted, we managed to please the whole family. And I think it's important, reach out to us and share with us who it is and what you're doing.
okay.
Besides weddings and meetings, bringing people into conferences, we're very spoiled for choice. At Marasa hotels, have you ever had a conference on a boat? Have you ever had a conference in the bush? Have you ever had one along the side of a river? And I think these are open air areas that we are certainly going to be exploring a little bit more when we start working in post the opening of the hotels. I think the biggest thing for everyone to realize is Marasa Hotels is not a stranger to the local Ugandans. We've had scheduled departures coming up to Chobe for years, and that will continue. I hear of people talking, I'm new in the area, but I've heard people talking about taking the bus up to Chobe on the UA buses and things like this. We partner so well with the parks. We have amazing places and amazing ways to make a Marasa moment for any guest. I think you just need to learn and understand how you want to explore it. And when you call our reservations officers, our ladies are versed and ready to learn what it is you're looking for. Sometimes we get just a couple who want to explore each other again. And it's that romantic dinner outside on their patio. Or maybe they don't want to be on their patio. Maybe they enjoy seeing the dances happening in the distance. Maybe we set up that special table up on a high river edge for them. And I think these are the things. It's really about experiences. Experiences, the difference of what we're doing before and now is safe experiences. When you're getting onto a game vehicle, it's going to be sanitized. When you're into a boat, you're going to know that it's cleaned and germs are gone. We will have options for our guests to be felt comfortable around masks. I'm very frustrated with the masks around our staff, and right now, Mike has been working hard on setting up whether a mask looks like this, or it looks like this with a big smile, or it's transparent, or it's glass, or it's perspex in front of our staff. What does it look like? And right now, the options are becoming so fast advanced through all hoteliers who are all trying to reach out to our guests. But this isn't how it feels nice to meet people. And I think we really want to learn how people want to be greeted and what it will look like as we move forward. So I know I've kind of run through a few of our questions there, Laura. I merged quite a bit for you, but you're quite studious there, writing down what it is I've said.
Yes. Okay, so in a nutshell, you have actually answered quite a bit. I was going to ask about social distancing, and I love the way you have said you are planning on doing it. So I put it here as social distancing with a twist. Basically, instead of having all the guests in the dining area or in the breakfast area, etc., you're going to actually try and spread them out to experience different parts of the lodge. And so it will end up feeling very special to them. And so one of the plus things about COVID-19 is that it won't end up being just a boring breakfast. You also mentioned to me earlier that normal buffet type thing, it's going to be more a la carte, and so it's going to be more individualized, and will end up being even more special to the guest. So
I can't tell you how I really believe, Laura, that people are going to really enjoy a change in how they dine, be it family buffets, a mini buffet on planks brought to a table, whether it's out in a picnic basket. And I think really to let people have that experience of making it feel more normal and natural, rather than letting it feel like you're in a hospital clinic.
yes.
After all, we are the lodges of Uganda. We want to take you on safari. Safari's never been safari like this. And I think we need to work a way that we try and bring in the essence of safari, and at the same time bring in the safety of these, making sure that people do feel safe and secure.
Yeah.
However, if you're a family unit and you're on safari, it has to be sensational. These moments are important for our guests.
Yeah.
And I think the big thing around affordability, I know you were looking at it, is Marasa Africa is very, very fortunate in that we have very large sized properties, but they spread over quite areas. Most of my properties have a family bungalow, if that's the way you want to travel, and that makes it quite affordable. Or you could go into a queen room where there are 2 queen beds, so mom and dad and 2 kids. You don't need 2 rooms. If you're a family of 5, take an interleading room. And these are the ways we're really looking at creating affordability and making the memories for our every single child, every single adult, and every single guest a little bit more special.
Yes. Okay, that's amazing. And I like what you said about when I asked you in one of our earlier talks about what you're doing for pricing. Just like you said now, you mentioned that you have always had pricing for the local market. You've always had weekend rates and things like that. So what you're focusing on now more is not necessarily more affordable pricing or cheaper or whatever, but more on creating value. For this same amount, what am I getting out of it? What experiences am I getting out of this amount that I'm paying? And so you've mentioned quite a lot of experiences that are definitely going to add value and make it worth every single dollar that the customer pays. I'm sure that is what you're going for, right?
100%. It's every single shilling that you're spending, we want to make sure you get the most out of it.
Shilling. Yes. Okay, that is great. Just before you go, I will just ask, as a couple, what is out of all the Marasa lodges, which one is the best for a couple?
What you're asking me is which is my favorite child.
Okay.
Every lodge has an entirely different experience. What is nicer? You know, I often answer this to people. What is nicer, milk or bread?
Bread.
They're very different.
Okay.
They're very different. If you're a Chobi, to spend your time relaxing out at the swimming pools after a massage at the spa is fantastic. What an experience. Versus if I'm at Para Safari Lodge and I'm heading up and behind you I've got the Murchison Falls, I've got my kids in front of us on the boat, I'm sitting with my wife holding her hand, the sunset's going, there's hippos and crocodiles, that's amazing. Or if I'm at Queen and I'm driving and I'm stopped in a game vehicle and there's tree climbing lions right there by us. Or I'm heading down the Kasinga Channel, which is admittedly one of the most finest rivers in Africa for a game experience. So, you know, which is nicer? Which is nicer? And the reality is, this is the reason why we make longer stays, where you get to stay at 1 or 2 or 3 lodges. We do offer circuit rates, so it makes it cheaper if you want to try 2 lodges at the same time. But in my advice, don't rush it. Come again and again. That's the advantage of being local. You don't need to do it like an American. Day 1 is Toby, day 2 is Para. Spend a week at a lodge and enjoy it, and come back again and again and again.
Okay.
We're there to welcome you.
I will then not ask the rest of my questions of what if it's a family, what if it's a team build, because like you said, we're spoiled for choice. So great work there in creating value and amazing experiences at all the lodges, and always having the domestic traveler in mind. And also all the plans you're putting in place, minimize contact and the social distancing, that's all amazing. And we obviously look forward to all the communication you'll be putting out, and we'll be sharing it on our platforms as well. So I'm sure.
Laura, you guys are great partners to us. Thank you. We appreciate it. We really do.
You're welcome. So now I'm going to go to Charlotte. Let's see if Charlotte can, her internet is better now. Can you hear me, Charlotte? Rowena, please unmute. Yes, okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Wonderful.
Sorry, my internet went off. I don't know what happened.
Sorry, sir, it happens. So, tell us about Bunyonyi Safaris and what makes it, or should I launch into my questions that will guide the conversation? Sure, I will. You mentioned very interesting measures that you're putting in place for social distancing. Want to comment on that?
Yeah, we are lucky in that we have, we've always promoted that outdoor. Most of our dining is outdoor. We usually serve our breakfast on the roof terrace. And then we have different products. For example, we have a hilltop place, which is quite a distance from the other hotel facilities where we can do camping and we host weddings. So we have a lot of space in which we can do social distancing. And even our indoor dining area has big windows, and we do not depend on AC. So social distancing for us at Bunyonyi Safaris has always been the norm, really. We don't have people, all crowded in one place. It's maybe Christmas and Easter, but other times we usually have different groups in different places. So we are going to increase on that, of course, and make sure that the dining hall is also well spaced out. When it's raining and people cannot go outside, we do not want to take in big groups. Mostly we'll have to control the entrance at the gate, because sometimes we have day guests mixing with the residential guests. So we will have to control the numbers at the gate. We do not want crowds. So that's one of the measures that we are going to take to ensure that we have social distancing.
Okay. Post-lockdown, when I say post-lockdown, I just mean when all the hotels are fully operational and people are moving around. I don't mean after tonight if we get released out into I just mean when hotels and everything is fully operational now. So post-lockdown, which segments are you going to focus on the most? What type of Ugandan, what category of Ugandan do you think you're going to be able to attract the most?
Okay, we've been having mostly families, but now we are looking at the youth, because we know that the youth they don't fear, they are more adventurous. So we are promoting packages for them, and we are making it as low as possible. So we are promoting the hilltop. We have a hilltop where we do camping, and we have some dormitories, and it also has a hospitality school. So that is really what we are promoting mostly, to attract them to come as students, as groups, to discover the place. And then we are also looking at the farm. We've been working on the farm during this lockdown. So the staff at the hotel has been paying a lot of attention to the vegetable growing and the farm produce. We have a piggery, we have cows, we have chicken, because we want to produce organic food. We want people to come and enjoy fresh food. People are more aware of how important it is to be healthy. So we would like to promote something fresh. And also the staff will have food during this time, so that we don't spend money on now buying food when we have our gardens. So we shall also do cultural tourism and also farm trips, taking the young people to see how cows are milked, taking them to see how the gardening is done locally, the vegetable growing. So we would like to encourage the urban children who have never really lived up country to come up country and experience village life, because we are living within a community. Take them on a hike and show them how are the other, village homes coping, how do they live, because they take a lot for granted. They think everybody is having a good time getting milk from the fridge, but if you can go and see how a cow is milked. So that is what we are promoting. We are promoting rural Uganda. We are promoting community tourism.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. In terms of family, how are you attracting families? What do you have at Bunyonyi that, I know you've mentioned the farming, I'll touch on that later, but do you have family rooms? Because I know this is always an issue, even when we are booking. Some resorts don't have huge family rooms where, like a whole small family with 2 children can sleep instead of taking out 2 rooms. Do you have this?
Yes, we have family rooms, and we have suites which have, kitchenettes, which have their own dining halls. And we also have rooms whereby, a parent can sleep in the same place, but different rooms within the same enclosure. Yeah. So we cater for families a lot, and we also cater for families with more than like 4 children. So we have all those facilities. We have quite a variety to take care of whatever size of family.
Okay. to mention, I'll just make a comment on, I really like what you said about the farming. There are very many, I have been, apart from trying to figure out what post-lockdown is going to look like for TravelNeza and the travel industry in general, I have been a teacher, actually more full-time teacher than, and we have been doing SST or science, part of my 8-year-old's work is 7 still. But how to milk this, what do we get from this and that animal, what do we this and that, and there are very many children who have never seen a cow being milked, or who don't know what the young of a pig looks like or what pigs eat. For them, this is all theory. So imagine a family that lives in Bugolobi Flats being able to go to Bunyonyi safaris for a 4-day holiday, and the kids actually get to participate in the milking of the cows and get to see what the young of these animals are and what they're called. So basically it will be like their science coming to life, and this is stuff they just will not forget. So I think that's amazing. That's also part of adding on creative experiences that make this, make every shilling more valuable. Now, you had also mentioned what I like to call, what our president called scientific weddings, and how you've actually been doing this in the past and how you're going to target more of these. Do you have any comment on that?
Yes, actually, we already have a scientific wedding booked at the hotel, and we are taking precautions to make sure that people are safe. And this will be a first for us, but the staff have also been training, because there are a lot of online materials to read and to train on the internet to know what to do and what is expected of you. So yes, we are still getting some bookings for weddings, and we have changed the way that the weddings are being done. So yes, the issue of weddings is very important for us, and we the social distancing, the sanitization, making sure that the staff are on standby to make sure that the meals are also served in a manner whereby people are not going to contaminate the serving area. So all that is being taken care of, and I believe that we should be able to deliver.
Okay, just to go back to the camping that you mentioned, right? I really like that. How much would it be for a night? Because now you're trying to speak to the youth. By the way, so youth is 35 and below. What is youth again? The people that you're targeting, these are young.
Yes. Okay, what has been happening, we've been getting people coming with their own tents, because they prefer, some groups like to do that. So we've handled some camping groups before. And so if you have your own camping tent, we let you use the venue, and we have showers, we have a kitchenette where you can cook your own food, or you can buy the food from us. We have, all the facilities that you need to be comfortable. And we light a campfire for you, and there's security. And you only pay 25,000 just to camp. So here we are looking at groups.
Yeah.
So, and the place is big, so you don't have to be close to one another. Okay. So really, that's really the lowest we've ever done, and we would like to tap the youth, because what happens is that when we have these camping groups, the same youth come back and stay at the hotel with their families. Yeah. So for us, it's also a marketing strategy that we've had. It works for us very well, because you attract them, then the next time you see them coming with their relatives, with their parents, so we want to catch them young, and that's what we are doing to
show them. That's really good. I mean, the hotel I stay at when I'm alone is different from the one I'll stay at when I'm with my partner, different from the one I'll stay at when I'm with my parents, and then with Shema. So it's different. So you can literally get the same guest coming in different, should I say, capacities, as a girlfriend, as a friend, as a daughter, that kind of thing, or even part of a team building with her company. So back to what basically this topic is, all the people out there that are saying that the hotels are not working on pricing for Ugandans. I mean, if you can go camping at a beautiful resort like that and still be able to utilize the facilities, take all the beautiful Instagram pictures of Lake Bunyonyi, at 25,000, I really think that that is very, very doable. You can take a bus to Kabale, and from Kabale town, you can take a cab, or I'm sure the hotel can maybe even arrange to pick you up, or you can take a boda boda, whichever it is. It's very affordable. If you really want to see Uganda, if you want to travel, you can. Charlotte, I think you wanted to also mention other offers that you have before we wind up.
The other offers, we've reduced on some of our rooms so that you can pay as low as 100,000 per person to stay in some of our rooms. And then also there's a possibility of upgrade if you stay for a longer period, because we are also trying to attract long stays. If you're staying for more than 3 nights, that's when you are eligible for that. Okay. So we want longer stays at the hotel, and probably we shall see what else to throw in for people to encourage them to come and isolate yourself at the hotel.
Yes.
And do your work. Now you can work from anywhere. So you come and do your remote work from near the lake, and where you can enjoy some kind of serenity. So that's the kind of message that we're trying to put across to people. Okay. Yeah.
Is there anything else you'd like to mention that I haven't particularly focused on?
No, I think you've captured everything. Thank you, Laura.
Okay, thank you very much, Charlotte. One of the amazing things that she's talked about is how the restaurant, the rooms actually don't require AC. They're very aerated, and if you've been to Kabale, you'd understand how cold it is, how clean the air is, how breezy it is. So I imagine that is safer than all the AC you spend in your offices. So take a weekend out when the lockdown is lifted, and go enjoy all the fresh air without worrying about being infected. And then also you mentioned families, camping. Camping is really good. I'm glad you're coming up with that. And then the culture tours and the farm tours, that is all beautiful. And the weddings. I've seen pictures of the weddings that you've had there on the terrace. They're extremely beautiful. Just to mention something about TravelNeza, we have had to channel quite a bit of destination weddings back into Uganda. We had quite a number booked for Diani and Zanzibar and places like that. And so I've been on the phone with quite a number of you discussing, can you accommodate at least 100 once this is lockdown is lifted? Because even if Kenya and Tanzania open their borders to travel, you won't get 150 people comfortable with going through airports just for a wedding. It will be a very hard sell. What would be easier would be a place just as beautiful within Uganda, where they don't have to go through airports, and also where it's more affordable, because like we said, it's just been a very tough period financially. So thank you very much, Charlotte, once again. I am now going to go to Marcella. Marcella Karachi, are you there? Yes, Marcella. Sorry, I know for a couple of you that saw the program, it's been mixed up a bit, but it's okay. We get to hear from all of you anyway. Now, Marcella is the Director of Marketing and Operations, and basically she's my go-to person at Igongo, and the person that I decided I would want to have this chat with, and that I would want other people to listen to from Igongo. Igongo Country Hotel and
Cultural Center.
Wonderful. Wonderful. So do you want to tell us a bit about it before I launch into the questions? Just where Igongo is?
Igongo is 12 kilometers from Mbarara, on the Mbarara-Masaka Highway, in Biharwe, to be more specific. We opened the museum, the cultural center, part of it in 2010 with one restaurant, and then opened the hotel officially in 2014. So it's been 10 years and 6 years, really. And I think we had Uganda in mind. We had our domestic tourism in mind because our products are really tailored to our local markets as well as the foreigners. So we're kind of lucky, and I believe that no crisis is wasted. I know that we're going to, work with our Ugandans to entertain them in the post-COVID era.
Yes.
And I hope that, we can work together generally to revive our economy and our hotels. Yeah.
So why, I'll just go back to why I chose these particular hotels to start with for the first webinar. These are hotels that a lot of Ugandans have always wanted to go to. They've wanted to go to. Many people that haven't gotten the chance to have been dreaming of doing so. Very many people drive past Igongo either on their way to their hometowns and things like that, and just always say, oh, I wish I could go there and things like that. And there's always this mentality, even before checking, that those people, their prices are tailored to the foreign tourist. I don't want to say the foreign tourist, and that they're just not for the Ugandan market. And yet when I had a chance to chat with each of you, I realized that actually many of you already had really good pricing for them. Either it just wasn't communicated effectively, or we're just biased and want to hear what we want to hear, or we just don't understand the value. So when I spoke to you, also spoke of the value and the offers that you have. Would you like to tell us about that? Basically, what you have in store for the post-lockdown Ugandan traveler?
So first, we want to tell our customers and our clients that we are going to make sure that every measure that has been mentioned by the Ministry of Health and World Health Organization and government, we have tried to put in place. We have trained our staff. There are masks, there are sanitizers, there are, washing points for your hands. We're very lucky that we're a big hotel. So our gardens are going to be used to help, in the social distancing dining experience and, scientific weddings, as probably you'll ask me later. Our prices, we had packages that existed for our, Ugandan people who we believe can afford, but like you said, I may be biased and, would probably pass off our hotel and think it's expensive. We have, for bed and breakfast, a single room. We've now put our prices down to 200,000 per night. That's bed and breakfast for a single room. And for double occupancy, it'd be 250. That's just bed and breakfast. And then for a full board single, you pay 270 per night and 390 for full board. And I think that's really good. Yeah. Because we still have costs that are running. We have obligations. As all my colleagues were saying before, it's not going to be business as usual for probably 6 months. So, but we want everybody to have, we know that people probably want to come and, take some time off from being at home for, nearly, 70 days. Yeah. So we want to be able to serve you, but also not go under.
Yeah. So basically, let's talk more about, apart from accommodation, apart from just going to Igongo for accommodation, what else is there that a customer can see and enjoy?
Oh, wonderful. We have a museum.
Yeah.
We have a museum that also has different pricing, very affordable for the locals, 5,000 to tour, and then 20,000 for what we call non-East Africans. And part of that museum has experiential farm visits where you see milking, milk churning, ghee making. We have an eclipse monument, a hill that's opposite the hotel. We missed our anniversary. It was 500 years since that eclipse. So we're going to do a whole ceremony, but COVID happened. We hope to do something though. We hope to do something later. Okay. So it's all part of the experience. We do host campers as well, mostly school children. They've come to Igongo and had a tour and slept in tents and enjoyed it very, 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 very much. So we're hoping to, to do that as well. And not just school children, even foreigners who are on their way to Bwindi or Kabale. They prefer to, sleep in tents for a night and then continue.
Okay, that's really good. I like that Igongo offers a lot more than just accommodation, that you have the museum, which unfortunately I also haven't been to yet, but I've seen so many amazing pictures. So like I said about Brovad Sands and Sese, picture a family of Mr. Mugisha who lives in Bugolobi Flats. His kids have grown up there and they haven't really experienced their culture. And so they can go and see how ghee is made. I don't even know how, I know it's from milk, how ghee is made and the chancy and, all these things. I imagine that would be amazing. And that's something every parent should try and do. So that is really good. And especially the eclipse monument. And I hope you get to celebrate that after all this. I will definitely be there. So back to the pricing. $60 is not bad at all for a resort as beautiful as Igongo. And especially that we have beautiful facilities like swimming pool and the gym and everything. That's just not bad at all. And yes, you knew that I was going to talk about scientific wedding. If some miracle happened or whatever we call it, and I get a COVID proposal, and I want to have a wedding of 50 people. I think the government can allow that, 50 people. Would you be able to have a gathering like that with, as minimum contact points as possible? The buffet, the experience, the space. Would you be able to pull that off? Would I still have an amazing wedding?
Absolutely, Laura. We can have up to 3 weddings, I think.
3?
At the same time. Yes, of a scientific nature, because our premises are big enough. At different points, you won't even know. And we can even have your proposal there at the Eclipse Hill, at the monument. So whoever is going to propose, we have everything in one place, just a one-stop center for you.
Okay, that's really good to hear. Marcella, is there anything else you'd want to tell us about Igongo in terms of what measures you're putting in place in terms of social distancing and basically making sure that your guests feel safe, and also in terms of experience? Is there any experience I haven't mentioned? Is there anything that you'd like to say?
Now, just like I said, my colleague said, we already have in place measures to sanitize surfaces, because there are many of those. We have gyms, we have, all sorts of restaurant tops, tables. We will sanitize the place from time to time, door handles, reception area. We had to remodel our website, so we're going to have a virtual tour on there.
Oh, wonderful.
And yes, and then we're going to make sure that handles bookings as well, payments. We want to encourage more, electronic payments to avoid the handling of cash.
Yeah.
Our staff are trained, and we're going to retrain them on health, on these measures to keep, safe and sanitized, masks and all. We have a crafts shop. If there's demand, if there's need, we can, stock masks there.
Yeah.
For those who may forget, because I think it's becoming compulsory to have them. So just in case, we will have them there, assessing the demand. We hope that, soon enough, things will get back to normal and we'll host everybody with our good packages. We also hope to local manufacturers, we've been doing that. Most of our, we use local artists to do the stuff in the museum, to build, woodwork. We want to support the farmers. I had my colleague Charlotte talk about a farm. We want to do boo-boo as much as possible.
Yeah.
So that then there's money in the economy, and then eventually, everybody's happy.
Yeah. That is wonderful. Thank you so much, Marcella. Thank you. I believe we now know a lot more of what Igongo is working on in terms of safety, creativity, the pricing, everything. We have 5 minutes, 6 minutes to 5, and this was supposed to end at 5. So I'm just going to summarize by saying thank you very much for joining us. Thank you very much to the key speakers, to Amos, Julian, Marcella, Charlotte, Rashid, and Masi. Thank you very much. We now know a lot more about your resorts and lodges, a lot more. And in summary, also, we now know that Ugandan hotels, I'll just use this as a sample, of course, you're not a representation of all the others, but I would say a very good part, that you're focusing on measures to make your guests feel safe, the social distancing, training your staff, minimal contact points, and that you are also coming up with creative experiences, basically to create more value for the Ugandan traveler, and just to show them a lot more of their country. There's a lot of culture tours, and basically to tell the Ugandan that it's not just about primates and gorillas, not that there's a problem with those, but that there's a lot more to Uganda than just those places. Yeah, so just I'm very happy about the creativity part we've learned a lot. The Eclipse Monument, the museums. I didn't know where the Kabaka's stick was made, or that it was even a thing. And then what we can do with the weddings in these places. So basically to give people more ideas. And then aside from the creativity, we've also seen that they're all coming up with tailored pricing, prices tailored to the Ugandan market, contrary to what has been said a lot in the last couple of weeks. It is very affordable. And remember that hospitality, hotels, tourism is not an impromptu thing. You don't just get up and go, but well, if you do, you will still find good options, but not as affordable. But if you plan in advance, then it becomes way more affordable. I just want to also mention that a lot of the questions I asked were from the different platforms, and that's why we believe we have covered a lot, and we don't really have to
Hi, Laura.
Yes.
No, so I'm so sorry to interrupt. I just wanted to just say something very quickly, maybe before you close. I know that the topic today was mostly how are we ready as hotels, as hotel owners, as my colleagues have actually said over and over again. And there were key things that I actually wanted to just emphasize, especially, the gentleman from Marasa and Wekesa and everyone has said, Julian and Wekesa have mentioned, maybe Marcella as well, just to like throw more light on this issue, because it's a discussion that has gone over and over again.
Yeah.
Price policies and how hotels actually set up their prices, they don't just concoct numbers, yeah? We must know this. It's a structure, it's certain different obligations, it's your average, your operating costs, all these factors, included, plus a shareholder's profits. So without a doubt, really, the market has actually increased consumption over the last couple of years, and hospitality has actually grown. But I think we need to be very mindful, just like other industries, hospitality also is still servicing guests, yeah? We have to be able to secure our property and continue to operate. We have spent, like Marcella said, so much time and energy and money on training very good staff. And when business is back, we want to get those good staff back. We don't want to lose them. Yeah. And so right now, I think what's actually going to I think it's without sounding bad, I think it's supporting our industry that will save us, supporting as Ugandans, going out of our houses, going to these restaurants, going to these hotels, supporting our industries locally, that will save us more than actually the price issue. You can never put a price on a service, a good service. Julian mentioned it. right now the focus, if you look at the global discussion on tourism, you rarely hear about the push to actually have discounts, because the companies are actually going to invest heavily in sanitization, in all these things. So it's a discussion. It's trying as much as possible to preserve our money, protect our cash flow, try and get more people into the hotels. More actually than it's actually that's more of a discussion we need to encourage, as opposed to trying to squeeze establishments. Some of us have actually been, I think most establishments, and they will say, we've actually got, and no, this actually, I wanted to have this discussion. I know every single one of us will actually agree. We have got some reliefs, yeah? Banks have deferred payments, loan obligations. We've managed to secure some NSF deferred payments for our staff, maybe payee, but then they're just deferred, yeah? We don't want to go under. We still have to meet those obligations. We made budgets and we need to do that. And then also we need for, fellow Ugandans to be able to comply and actually, when you're requested to stop and get checked, please do that, because you're not just protecting yourself, but many other people around you. Yeah. And then, yes, and then also there are things that we ought to remember that we need to be very mindful not to exploit the circumstances and follow and further throw, the industry into turmoil. Like everyone has said, Julian, Marcella, the Brovad we can only do so much. Right now, our P&L is already stretched. We're not receiving anything on the top line. Our income has already been drained. We're not receiving anything else. Right now, collections are very hard for hoteliers. So what we need to protect now is the bottom line. And how do we protect that? Is trying to minimize our expenses. And so in as much as we would like to do so much for you, it's just a win-win situation here. It's working together, not tipping the scale in one person's favor. For us to stay afloat, for us to be able to deliver a service, tomorrow when we are back in business properly, or for you to keep many more jobs on the payroll. Like, for me, that's the one thing that if I could sing it over and over again, we need to keep hospitality in Uganda is very young. We don't want to lose good staff. We don't want to lose that. So when you walk into a hotel or a restaurant or a lodge, and you are pushing someone's dollar or shilling to the minimum, just remember how many more jobs you're taking out of circulation. And then we still have obligations. Like I said, people still have loans to pay. We still have sanitary obligations to pay. We still have to pay our ground rent. We still have to pay corporation tax. We still have to pay all those things. They won't go away, unfortunately. And so, in as much as we'll try as much as possible to tailor our products and do provide excellent services, I know that we've all created wonderful memories with each one of us. We've had a blast. We have things to look back to. It's baby showers, weddings, all the significant times in our lives have always celebrated in these establishments. We don't want them to go down the drain. And so we too, as Ugandans, have an obligation to, just like every industry, it could be a shop, it could be I don't know, because Laura, will you go to a supermarket right now and tell them to cut down posho to like 1 thou per kilo? No.
Yes.
Okay, so every industry is trying to stay afloat and survive, and we're also being affected. So so basically that's what I wanted to just emphasize.
Yeah, part of also why we did this is we know that it's very tough for the industry. We know that better than but basically we have to get creative in the way that we're going to bounce back. Because Ugandans are very, very, very price sensitive. Yeah. We negotiate and bargain hard. And when you said that, when I go to the supermarket, will I negotiate? Maybe not me. And it will depend. But yes, most of us will negotiate and will expect low prices. So unfortunately, it's just part of our consumer behavior. So we have to get creative without going under. But we totally get
I hear you, Laura.
We need to be mindful that we don't, we we don't want any of these resorts to collapse at all, to go bankrupt, you know?
No, I hear you, Laura, and that's the reason why, and I know we talked about this earlier on, and we said, and every single one of them said, as much as we're having this conversation, we definitely put these things in place.
Yeah.
But we need to have an honest conversation, right? We would love to meet you halfway, meet us halfway. We've always done this. We've had packages for the locals. We want them to actually come into the industry. I was just talking about this, the Pearl of Africa almost closed 7 years ago, almost, when I was joining. But right now, it has very high demand. That was a fine dining restaurant. And so we'll always try to sell our products for the locals and definitely do that. But like, it's just, you know, we need to open up our minds and appreciate the service. Julian said, I'm selling an experience more than I'm actually talking about cost. Yeah. So let's focus on that. You can't put a price to that. Yeah. So let's focus on the experience. And he said, cheap is, like he said, cheap is what? He said something that was like, caught my attention, and I was like, you suffer with Julian.
Nothing cheap is nice. And you know what the funny thing is, Mercy, is the one thing that I've learned, and it's been fantastic. Yeah. It's the same as a motor car. Mercedes-Benz make a beautiful car, but they don't make them very cheaply. But in the range, there's some really, really expensive ones, and there are ones that are less expensive. But I think in hotels, and Mercy, to your point, I think more so from Marasa's side, it's not about now because there's COVID, suddenly we're looking to local market. We love our local market. At Marasa, we've been having local packages. Laura, you know this for years. And Mercy, your hotels too. And I think the biggest thing here is my reasoning to reaching out to local people is not to give them a cheap deal. Mine is to give them a good time. And let the good times roll on, and let the families have better times, and let it become a culture of travel within the local Ugandans. And for people who are scared and think they can't afford it, well, that's not true. You can afford it your way. Yeah. You can maybe hop on the shuttle. You can come and have a lovely experience. And I think it's about giving as much of an experience as your money will allow. And I think reach out. We're here to welcome you guys. Laura, you guys do a wonderful job at linking all your clients to us. Mercy does a good job. Marcella, I can't wait to come and see what you guys do. And I think really, if I'm at all of these products and beautiful properties, just from my side in closing, this is not because there's COVID-19 that we want Ugandans traveling. We always want you traveling. And guess what? It's not that we want you. We've welcomed our Ugandans over and over again, the same family members back to our hotels and lodges. So travel your way. Yeah. Let us know what you got to make it happy. Charlotte's got a great place up in the mountains I heard about. I'm excited for that. I want to go traveling more. So you know what? If we all work harder, then I can get more leave. Because right now, our sales and marketing guys, and I think Mercy, Marasa, all you guys can actually agree, we're working crazy on conferences and talking to our wonderful clients. We can't wait to welcome all of you.
Okay. Rowena, you had something to say?
Hi everyone. Yes, we have had quite a bit of interaction with you guys on the inbox. I would like to allow a couple of people to speak, and then also raise a couple of points from the TravelNeza perspective. So let me unmute Eddie Nkunda. Eddie, are you there? Can you hear us?
Yes. Yes. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you are. My name is Edson Banya. A family of TravelNeza, very big fan from the start. And I want to thank you for this symposium or get together, as we may. Most of us, first of all, don't normally come to these meetings where you have industry stakeholders and all of that. So these are normally closed door meetings, and normally the fees are very expensive for the everyday person to walk in. But I'm glad that we have this. Those of you who know me personally, I'm getting married this year, well, after COVID. So it's very important for me, well, to get into this discussion and see how things are moving. I am looking forward. I got some good points from Rashid, Mr. Wekesa, who I know as well, Julian, Mercy, my dear friend, and Marcella as well. What I wanted to raise particularly is this whole notion of most of these establishments being very expensive. When I was younger, I was very lucky to have traveled to Mwea several times before it was taken over by Julian's company. But one thing I noticed is these are plans that have to be made in advance. You have to save. And as a Ugandan, I speak on behalf of my brethren. You know, we say expensive when you look at the price, but most of these things, if they're done in advance, if you save up for 6 months, for 1 year, you'll enjoy your experience even more. All these packages you're talking about are experiential. They're all about the memories. So you're not going to have a $50 memory vis-a-vis a $500 memory. So it's entirely up to you. But I think the whole culture of saving is what makes the whole experience better. TravelNeza, I will vouch for the company because they have a scheme where you can save up to travel. But it all starts from within. If you want something nice, like Julian said, you have to save for it. If you want a Mercedes, some people save up for 10, 15, 20 years. If you want a cheaper vehicle, it's same. So it depends entirely up to you. So I believe the whole saving culture should be something that's pushed, that is sensitized, so that people can get more bang for their buck. Every foreigner that comes to Africa, for example, doesn't wake up one morning and say, I would like to travel to Africa today. No. They put money aside, they take leave, or they plan their leave dates, then they enjoy the 10 days, 2 weeks or whatever. So that is my 2 cents. After following this, I just thought, as a person that's not directly connected to the industry, I would drop my 2 cents for that. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Rowan?
Thank you, Edson. I'd like to make a little correction on that, where you say you're not directly connected to the industry. You are the industry. Every single one of our clients is the industry. Without you, neither we nor the good folks who run hotels would exist. Mr. Wekesa wouldn't exist without his clients. Mercy wouldn't exist without hers. Marcella, Julian, Charlotte, all of us, Laura and I, we all exist because of you. That really brings me to what I wanted to say from the TravelNeza perspective. Our job as TravelNeza is not really selling holidays. Our integral part of that is the Neza wallet. That's where you plan ahead. You say, you know, this year, my wife is turning 40, our daughter is turning 12, my mother is turning 70. So this year, let us go to Sese, and we're going to do it this December. And then you plan. You come out to us, we talk to our partners, and we get you a package. And then you start to save for it from January. Anything from, you know, 100,000, 200,000, you start to deposit, so that by December, you're really just all about the fun and the experience. And guess what? You know, when your daughter gets married, these are the images that will play on the memory lane at her reception, because you have built that memory when she's 10 or 20 or 18, by actually having these milestone moments with your family. And that's really what it's about. There's nothing you can't save for, no goal you can't attain if you set your mind to it. In the Ugandan tourism market, without exception, is committed to their clients having a fantastic time. And that's really what we're here to facilitate. And ultimately, without our clients, none of this exists. The entire industry doesn't exist. So that's what I wanted to add on behalf of TravelNeza. We had a nice submission from a gentleman called Mr. Important for Ugandan tourism. One perception, Ugandans don't believe that there's something good in Uganda. People are happier to spend twice the money in Uganda. So it's about perception and people believing that what is Ugandan is worth it. And number two from Mr. Lubogo is marketing and advertising. Here he's speaking to our partners in the hotel industry. Most hotels do not advertise directly to Ugandans and do not help Ugandans understand what there is to enjoy and what there is on offer, and make Ugandans believe that there is beauty in our country. Most of our children know what the Masai Mara is, but not all our children know what Semliki is or Chibale. So there is also that element from our side as service providers to really educate people about the good things that are out there, because there are so many. And in closing, I want to just say that a country that invests in itself grows faster. One of the fastest growing phenomenons, I'm an economist, so I'm going to sound very economic right now. One of the fastest growing countries was Israel after it was formed. This is because people in Israel spend money 50 times in their country before they spend a dime in another country. They will buy Israeli for everything. They will go on holiday in Israel. And it's a tiny country, but it has grown by people investing. And how does this work? I'll give a very quick example. Imagine, Laura, you want to take your parents for their 40th wedding anniversary in Brovad, and you go and give Brovad a 500,000 shilling deposit. Then Brovad will go and give the farmer who supplies them all their milk and beef and vegetables 200,000. And then they'll go and give maybe the cleaning ladies who clean all the suites 200,000 to come and spring clean the family cottages. So that's essentially like 400,000 that has entered that economy. Those people will go, maybe 5 of them have balance at the local supermarket. They have a debt or credit, and they'll clear that credit. So suddenly the supermarket owner has 200,000. And then that supermarket owner will come back to Brovad and tell Brovad, hey, by the way, I've made some money. My wife has been harassing me that we haven't done anything nice, and we have an anniversary coming up. For 200,000, can we do something small? So invariably, the 500,000 that you deposit in Brovad goes into the entire economy of Sese, like 7 different times, and comes back to Brovad. So there are no losses in the cycle. It's a self-fulfilling cycle. And ultimately, as more people come into the cycle, we have more occupancy. And with higher occupancy, that means we can reduce the rates. If you have only 1 guest for the whole month, you can't give that guest a discount. But if you have 300 guests and every single night of those 30 nights in a month, you have 10 guests, then any one guest coming to ask for a discount is more likely to get it. And that only happens if us Ugandans start to travel. When we're filling up the hotels, then we're getting more discounts. But if there's only one of us any given month in a hotel, there are no discounts on offer because overheads are just overheads. So the reason we had this Zoom was because we want to unlock the industry of all its potential, and it is get more people staying. Occupancy goes up, rates come down because people have more, maneuverability to give a few discounts here and there. Get our hotels ordering more from their suppliers, get those suppliers ordering more from their suppliers. And so ultimately the dream for all of us is if this tourism that is Ugandan tourism could become a life changer for all of us. And it can, the potential's in there. So we're basically trying to do what we can to unlock that engine. So yeah, that's it, Laura, over to you.
Thank you guys. Thank you very much, Rowena. I don't think you introduced yourself or I introduced you. Rowena is the General Manager at TravelNeza. And yes, thank you very much for what you added on. And for everyone that has stayed with us up to this very last minute, I can't thank you enough. I know it's been a lot, but I hope it was very informative. I hope this video is going to be shared on all our platforms. We will share it with you as well, the key speakers, so you can share it on your platforms as well. So even if there's not many people that logged on, I can see very many people complained about the registration process, but it's fine as long as it was recorded. That's what matters. Thank you very, very, very much. All right. Thank you. Bye. Rowena, you can end.
Thank you, Laura.
All right.
Thank you, Laura, and everyone. Bye-bye.
All right.
Bye.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Laura.